degree or whatever it is they want to do, even when they want to work, for example, the authorities here need to be double sure that whatever certificates they are presenting also match the level of skills or the level of opportunities that they want to access, or whatever it is they want to do, maybe study further and things like that. How worried have you been about this development?
You know, we understand that there are people who they've put in a whole lot of work, you know, to earn these degrees and certificates. Right. You know, they have gone to school for years, you know, written exams, done a whole lot.
How to deal with strikes.
Have to deal with strike and all that, especially here in Nigeria.
Yes.
You know, and then you just discover that somewhere in the world, somewhere in some country, people go and buy these certificates. They spend less than a week, months, and then they get the certificate, and then they come back here and then compete
with people who have legitimately gone through the rigors.
And that's the problem we have in most sectors that we're in. We find out that now it's safe to say these people are incompetent, obviously,
right,
because they've gone through the corners, gotten the certificates, and then they pose as a challenge for, you know, people, and then businesses, sectors, leadership, in the aspects of leadership and all that. It's worrisome.
Right.
But then again, we understand that there are people who, despite the fact that we know that they're in Benin Republic, you know, certificates are being bought, we mustn't take away the fact that there are people who have gone to school there and gotten these certificates. And then we see cases of, obviously, I just hope and pray that, but it looks like it, that they're not stereotyped. They're not, you know, when I tell you that I graduated from a school in...
So I need to check you out again.
Benin Republic. Already, there was already that, you know, assumption, even before this certificate issue came out, you know, that schools in Benin Republic are not, they're not well put together, they're not, they're not
credible, they're not up to standard.
Exactly, they're not up to standard, you know. But you and I have witnessed a colleague here who graduated
also in one of those schools,
you know, and is sound. You see how competent this person is.
Right.
But because of that stereotype, you know,
she has to deal with a level of trauma now.
Yeah, she has to deal, and then with this, you know, that certificates there are being bought. So, you know, people who graduated from such universities are now going to be like, oh, what becomes of, what's the future? It's worrisome for me. I know that even here in Nigeria, we mustn't take away the fact, we also know that it's not only in Benin Republic that this
happens.
Buying happens. It happens also in Nigeria. So what becomes of those people who have obtained certificates years...
fraudulently, many years before now?
Many years before now.
Are we going to dig further back?
Yes.
And allow the law, the long arm of the law, catch up with these same people.
And then what happens to those who have also gotten certificates legitimately many years ago?
You know, it's interesting. This is what some people would call a hydra-headed problem. What that means in context is that some people say, look, we need to deal with our domestic problems before we even start talking about the, if you like, authenticity or otherwise, or certificates coming from Benin Republic, from Cameroon, what's it called again, Ghana, Togo, and all of these countries around West Africa. Thing is, you're asking yourself, if we had it all put together, to use your word back at home, if we had been responsible over time to fix most of the problems in our education system, some people will argue very vehemently that we won't be where we are today. I had a guest on Big Talk just yesterday evening, and he made a very salient point. He said, look, rather than focus on existing universities, strengthening them in terms of infrastructure, in terms of standards and quality of learning, you know, manpower and so on and so forth, we are busy as a government and as a people investing in new universities. You have no idea how many universities, federal universities that is, were approved and floated just since, between when we had former President Dr. Goodluck Jonathan in office and today. And then you also have no idea how many have been approved in the works already. And you're wondering, what have we done with the existing ones? We are still not through with ASU in terms of the agreement that the government reached with them in 2009. I was affected by that agreement, by the way. But the thing is, they are saying, fix your problems. You have teething problems, you have home problems. Find homegrown solutions to those problems, and you cut down on these issues. The second argument is there are people, evidently, this is a no-brainer. There are elements inside the Federal Ministry of Education, they say, who collaborate with these people. We've seen names being mentioned, even though we're just going to steer clear on the program this morning for apparent reasons. But they are collaborators in the Federal Ministry of Education. They are collaborators in the Nigerian Immigration Service, and so on and so forth. So there are people who, the syndicate is protracted, which means you have individuals in Nigeria, you have institutions in Nigeria who are part of this syndicate. You also have, they have counterparts across the borders, whether it's in Benin or Togo or Ghana, for instance. So you have that argument. You also have the problem of funding. UNESCO strongly recommends that the budget of nations should be such that at least, they say minimum, 26% should be dedicated to funding education. But let's be frank and tell ourselves the truth for once, and we will not die. Have we been sincere about funding education? Malam Adamu, immediate past Minister of Education, had even agreed that Nigeria had never funded education up to 10% with regards to our annual budget. Those are of concerns, aren't they?
They actually are of concerns. We must ask ourselves, why do we have people going to these countries for...
In the first place.
In the first place.
Right.
When we can, why do we have people going to these countries for schools in the first place?
Because you guys will have multiple strikes within one academic session.
Okay, that's one of the reasons. And then again, why can't we, it's obviously because we don't have universities, in Nigeria that can, because of one of the reasons, one of the challenges are strikes. First of all, in the first place, we have strikes. We see that these people go out of the country, they pay exorbitant amount of money just to be admitted in universities.
And graduate in record time.
And graduate in record time. What are the measures that have been put in place? You mentioned strike, obviously. What are the measures that have been put in place to ensure that, people who go to school graduate within specific period of time?
You see, I just want to add to that. I'm tempted not to say much this morning, but it hurts because we are professionals in broadcasting today. I mean, broadcast journalism. We have professionals across different other spheres who are also worried. But we need to be frank with ourselves. I mean, look at what we've done with our education system. Look at the proliferation of private universities between 1999, when we had Nigeria's premier university approved, which is somewhere in Edo State. And today, you have them in tens, several private universities. Of course, there's no doubt in the fact that we've seen very fine, standard, conscious private universities in this country, some of the finest. Some of them you can even almost say, within our own context, they are the Ivy Leagues of this world. But we've also seen some of them that are mushroom. Let's not kid about this. This is serious. Then you're asking yourself, has NUC lived above board in the last 20 or so years? I mean, the Nigerian Universities Commission. We've seen how private universities will package their facilities, bring manpower from outside, import equipment and experts and so on and so forth, just because NUC is coming for accreditation. So when they scale that hurdle, they go back to their mediocre ways and continue to dish out next to no value kind of education. Because in the end, let's face it, the system believes in paper qualification, not skill sets, not the amount of practical competence that you bring to the table. Don't you also think that it's time, I mean, this is long overdue, but better late than never, we went back to prioritizing skills, competence over paper qualification?
I think we've gotten back to that time where we now prioritize skills over paper qualifications. Most jobs now. And I think that is what is best as regards, because when we see cases of people who buy certificates, people who, cut the corners just to, get to where they have been. It's only skills that can sustain them. And most organizations, we see now that we're not looking at your papers. For the record, the last I've been employed, nobody has asked for my class of degree.
So we're asking, what can Queen Agaba do for us?
I think that is the question employers should be posing now to employees.
We'll see your credentials, but what can you do?
What can you do? Let's see you. Let's assess you for this period of time. That's most reasons why people put people on probation. Before you get a job, you will be asked.
Let's assess you for a while.
This period of time. Okay, we know for the records. I mean, we see it even in Nigerian universities. We see people. We know know, we've been through that process. We've been through, you see how people don't come for lectures, but then they get high grades.
They don't come for continuous assessments.
Sometimes you don't see your colleagues.
The class rep fills in for you.
Yes, he fills in for you. You just feel like, okay, I have the money, I can just, you don't see your colleagues until it's time for exams. And sometimes people don't even come for exams. And then they pass, they have the papers. And it's quite discouraging. In fact, it's discouraging and disheartening for people who put in the work. You see people, you see students come to we have to get to that point. And I think it's high time we begin to encourage employers of labor, you know, to begin to put skill first outside. In fact, we should go past that level where we look, fine, we need to see that you went to school, you need the papers to...
you went through that discipline.
Right. Quite all right. But what can you do? Can we begin to look at your skill set? Can we begin to look at attitude? Attitude to work. What can you do?
Your work history.
Work history, work ethics. You know, can we begin to look at these outside of, you know, the papers? It's because it's disheartening.
You know, I just to add to what you've said, I mean, brilliant point made already. I think the private sector, let's give credit where it is due. Not just because I'm a private sector oriented person. I think the private sector has done excellently well with regards to looking out for skills. I've seen people who have never been to university. As a matter of fact, they've never been to any tertiary institution their entire life. But what they've done over time is to take the pain, I mean, to painstakingly learn skills within the IT sphere, maybe just coding, software development and stuff like that. So they've done this for, give or take, 7 to 10 years. Now, this guy, for example, is far better than somebody with 2-1 in computer science or computer engineering. And then you put both of them side by side to compete for the same opportunity. The private sector guy, who probably is the HR guy, who is going to make the decision as to who gets hired between both of them, already realizes that while on the one hand, this other gentleman here has a degree in computer science, which is cognate, giving the opportunity in front of them. But then, on the other hand, he finds that this other guy who has never been to university, he doesn't have beyond NECO or O-level, I mean, WAEC or something. But then he has 10 years experience working for even entities beyond Africa. He has done remote jobs for them over time, and the evidence is there. He has a portfolio of jobs, projects that he has done even for entities back in Nigeria. And then you're asking me, who should he hire? Of course, my 4-year-old daughter knows who is going to pick. So what it means is we have come to a point where employers of labor, and even all those who have the opportunity to access you, will look beyond your credentials. But I think one of the conversation, or part of the conversation we're going to be having on the show this morning, is how this undercover investigator, I mean the journalist himself, got to find his way into the National Youth Service Corps scheme undetected. And what even blows your mind is that he got his first alawi, as we got to call it, all right, and then of course he would have to return that back to the federal government through the Remittance platform. But what has proven beyond words is that our system has been porous. Recall, Queen, for the records, because we are broadcasters, we take the pain to find the facts and we put them out there for the benefit of members of the public, especially our viewers. NYSC has boasted severally that, look, our system is fail-safe. What that means is you can't compromise it, you can't crack through it, you can't hack it, you can't run circles around it. But we know what has happened. And you know, as we say, opinion balance, now who them catch or thief, the thief. This is somebody we have seen now who has done it practically and is in front of us. But who knows how many other persons, maybe there are thousands, or at least in their hundreds, who have done it successfully undetected. Today they are working in the private sector, they are working in the public sector, and stuff like that. I think this is embarrassing for the government, whether it's the Federal Ministry of Education or the National Youth Service Corps. And I also think government should not grandstand about this. You see, government must be remorseful. When I mean government, I'm not talking about government as I mean, in terms of the government of President Bola Tinubu per se. I'm talking about in particular, in specific terms, Ministry of Education, the Federal Ministry of Education, and the NYSC. They've got to apologize for this. They've got to take full responsibility and say, look, we left the door open. We left the door ajar. We take full responsibility for that. We ought to have done X, Y, Z. We only did X, Y. We left Z open. So going forward, we're not only going to fix or address the issue of Z. We're going to ensure that this doesn't happen again. And if it does, we'll take full responsibility. And as we say, heads will roll. And not on television alone, not on the pages of newspaper. Because people must take responsibility, because I know of a media house in Nigeria that used a story back in the day about the candidates going into the general election in 2023, and it turned out that story was not true. That particular media outfit had to suspend their assistant director of news. And every 1 hour, they apologized on television live to their viewers. You see, that's how you take responsibility. That's a privately owned, privately run entity showing example. So government should even show a much more sterling example in this regard. That's what I think should happen. But then, this is a long drawn-out conversation. Queen and I can obviously not exhaust it, but we understand that, as usual, Sharon Ajay has prepared something for us today on taste and texture.
Northern has never run out of amazing dishes, and we never run out of letting you know how to prepare such delicacies and their health values. Hello and welcome to Taste and Texture. I'm Fatime Abba, and on today's episode, we'll be talking about danwake. Danwake, also known as beans dumplings, is a delicious and easy to prepare meal in northern Nigeria and mostly eaten by the houses in the region. The meal is prepared with beans flour, baobab flour, that's kuka, and potash, which is kanwa. Other ingredients include dry pepper, groundnut oil, tomatoes, egg, onions, and vegetable oil. The meal can be prepared in 20 minutes if you can find already mixed flour. If not, you'll have to make it yourself. The danwake flour comprises so many different mixtures depending on which part of the nut it is prepared. Traditionally, it is eaten as danwake da mai da yaji, meaning danwake with oil and pepper in Hausa. Now, let's look at the ingredients needed to make it. Firstly, get your 2 cups of flour, then 1 tablespoon of baobab kuka, water for cooking the dumplings, 1 teaspoon of potash kanwa, 1 cup of water. For serving, get your vegetable oil, ground cayenne oil, ground cayenne pepper yaji, sliced vegetables, onion, tomatoes, and lime, stock cubes, hard-boiled eggs. Now let's prepare. In a clean cup, mix 1 teaspoon of potash and 1 cup of water. Mix well and set aside. Then, in a clean bowl, add 2 cups of flour and 1 tablespoon of baobab powder. Mix the dry ingredients well. Add the potash mixture gradually. Continue to mix until you get a smooth paste. Then, when the water starts to boil, keep forming the paste into small balls and throwing them into the boiling water. Allow them to boil for about 10 minutes. The balls will rise to the top when they are done. You then strain all the water and rinse with cold water. Strain and turn into a plate. Then proceed to add your serving ingredients and sprinkle your fried vegetables. You might be wondering what the health benefits are. Well, here you go. 1. Boost eye health. Danwake is prepared with substantial amount of cayenne pepper in tomatoes. These ingredients are known for enhancing eye care owing to their vitamin A, C, and beta-carotenoid. They help eliminate free radicals, which promotes inflammation of the eyes. Every plate of danwake consumed offer you these benefits. 2. Energy generation. In the northern part of Nigeria, people eat danwake to generate energy for daily activities. Be sure you consume one properly prepared in a hygienic manner. 3. Boost immune system. Immune system protect the body against pathogens. However, inadequate feeding leads to poor immune system, whereas eating properly helps strengthen your immunity. Food like danwake is thought to improve immune system due to its nutritional profile. Vitamin C helps in iron absorption, which provides the body with blood. The protein content aid in the body building and growth. 4. May aid digestion. Danwake helps in digestion by strengthening the digestive tract. Fiber is known for bowel movement and meditation of system associated with digestion. 5. May reduce high blood pressure. Regular consumption of danwake may help maintain your systolic and diastolic pressure, since it contains natural compounds like flavonoid. potassium, magnesium, and vitamin C. Potassium and magnesium help in muscle contraction and relaxation, which may play a significant role in blood pressure control. Well, that's all on today's episode. See you next time. Bye.
I'm trying not to crave dawaki right now because I don't know if it's too early to do that, especially since just past 7 West African time. You like a thing or two? I mean, I heard her talk about that it gives energy, right? I think that
it helps reduce inflammation.
Inflammation, right.
Then it boosts your immune system. Right now, I don't think I've seen it on quite a few times on the internet, but I've never really thought about the health benefits. I've never really craved it. But seeing how it's prepared, seeing the health benefits and all that, I think I want to have a try.
Right.
Have you had dawaki before?
I've not. In fact, I think it has sparked my curiosity right now. Maybe something I need to plan around. I'll discuss with experts in that field and see what advice they will give. But then the president also gave his address on New Year's Day as expected, reassuring Nigerians, because he had already assured and reassured previously of what his government, the federal government, will do under his leadership in terms of alleviating the poverty that millions of Nigerians have been subjected to, particularly on the back of removal of fuel subsidy. Some people say, well, it's not the first time we're hearing it. So president after president had said the same thing, and next to nothing changed. And then you're wondering, what is different about this? But the president has said, look, this is a renewed hope era that we are in. As a matter of fact, the budget that he just signed into law a few days ago for 2024 is christened renewed hope budget. So how renewed is your hope, Queen?
Well, the president's speech was quite hopeful, and it provides some sort of succor,
he was deliberate about it?
Yes, he was deliberate, and I think that is what... in as much as I appreciate that the message was full of hope for Nigerians, what are the measures that you're putting in place? We quite appreciate that you have these plans. What are the measures? How are you trying to execute this? There was no specific time frame for some of the things that he said he was going to do. We're tired of hearing, we're tired of being giving hope again and again and again. We want to see these things happen. We want to see your words match. We want to see actions match your words. So I quite appreciate that the message was full of hope, but we hope to see action
matching those words. So I totally agree. We understand that Chung Animal Joseph put together an entertainment update for us, and we'd like to see that while we wait for the news that have the hour mark. Okay, we're just going to take a quick break, everyone. Up next is the Global AM News, and after that, we'll bring you newspapers headlines with the big stories first here on the show this morning. We'll give you an insight into what the news is saying and what the direction of news is for this morning today, in particular, Thursday, the 4th day in the month of January. It's a new year, and stock taking should continue while we also aggressively pursue our set objectives for 2024. We're back shortly after the news. Do stay with us, everyone.
Oko, please, can you help me with my bag?
Hospital in Abuja said that veteran Nollywood actor Zach Orji is now in a stable condition. The public relations officer of the hospital, Ayo Hastrup, says they really thank God for him. He has started talking and in a stable condition. His wife is by his side. On Sunday, December 31st, the actor was said to have slumped in his toilet at home and was rushed to the hospital, after which he was admitted into the intensive care unit. According to reports, he was unable to talk and walk as at the time and was in critical condition. Fans were soon thrown into a state of worry after a video surfaced showing the ailing actor on a hospital bed. While in the hospital, Orji was visited by the wife of the president, Oluremi Tinubu, alongside the wife of the vice president, Hajiana Nashetima, the Minister of Women Affairs and Social Development, Uju Kennedy Ohanenye, the wife of the Minister of Works, Rachel Umahi, and the wife of the Minister of State for Defense, Bello Matuwale, and other women also accompanied the First Lady on the visit. Prayers and well wishes have continued to pour in for the actor across social media. Shawn Mendes shared what has helped ease the pain of his anxiety over the last year and how he's learned to welcome the lows of life amidst his mental health journey. Mendes